Hello everyone. Monday, April the 25th, Minute Plus Meditation. Let's take a little side road because today we celebrate the feast of Saint Mark, who was one of these incredibly blessed individuals. I mean, he had St. Peter as a mentor, he had St. Paul as a mentor, St. Barnabas as a mentor. So we are blessed with his gospel. So the first reading is from 1 Peter, because he also, of course, was with Peter. He undoubtedly got his gospel from the mouth of Peter. Probably, who knows, maybe a bit of Peter and Paul, but mostly Peter. So in the first reading, which is taken from 1 Peter, he says, "Beloved, all of you must clothe yourselves with humility in your dealings with one another, for God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble." It's a beautiful reading. Really encourage you to read the first epistle of St. Peter. Now again, Mark could have actually dictated this, or Mark, wrote it. We're not 100% sure, but it's so appropriate that it's read on the feast of Saint Mark. Because of Mark's closeness to Peter, Peter would have heard, he would have been mentored by Peter and learned about all of Peter's mistakes, right? All of his sins too. Like, Peter was very open about this stuff. It's there in the gospel. How do you think St. Mark wrote about this? He learned from Peter, probably from other sources as well, like other apostles and disciples of the apostles, but mostly from Peter. Peter was open about the fact that, this is who I am. This is what Jesus worked with. Jesus taught me humility over and over and over again, because I was anything but. This is what somebody who's in relationship with Christ will do. They'll be honest about, yes, the fact that they're not ready-made, as it were. They're a work in progress. They have to learn from Christ constantly. So this is just so important for us, to read this as Peter sort of unveiling his soul, as it were. Yes, he's teaching, but think about the Gospels. So Peter's really, getting into his own spiritual life. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. He further says in the reading, well, don't you think he learned that from Jesus? So you and I need to work at this as well, to cast all our cares upon him. It doesn't mean we stop doing things, but we have to, try to have, one saint put it, I have no worries, only concerns. Just think about that. Really let that percolate. I have no worries, but concerns. So that's the first reading. So much more can be said about it. And then the gospel is Gospel of Mark, chapter 16, when Jesus, after rising from the dead, he appeared to the 11 and said, "Go into the whole world and proclaim the good news to the whole creation." So basically the resurrection, is not for, like, Jesus didn't do all of this so we could sit back and just say, wow, like a great show, be entertained. No, this is for a purpose. And the purpose is to go into the whole world and talk about me, evangelize, and then catechize, after they've been evangelized. Talk about me and don't stop talking about me. And defend who I am, as I have defended you before the Father. And I will stand, and I've given my life for you against Satan. And, I have shed my blood for you. Now you go and you pick up your cross every day and you talk about me. That's the commission. It's important for us, though, to remember the commission is not for just back then. It's not just for those fellows back there, those apostles. It's for you and for me. Now it's our time. St. Joan of Arc said, this is the time for which we are born. This is where God wanted us to be, and God now expects us to carry the mission forward as well, always trusting in him. So remember this day to first of all thank God for the gift of St. Mark. Thank Mark for consenting to allow Jesus to teach him, to be guided by Peter, guided by Mark, guided by Barnabas, and then of course writing about Jesus, talking about him. He's a martyr for the faith. So he was willing to lay down his physical life for Christ, but also to bequeath to us this precious gospel. So give thanks, and remember, when the time arises, talk about Jesus. God bless you.